You think night is just when people go to sleep, but for most of human history, the night was anything but peaceful. There was no electricity, no locked doors, no concrete walls, just darkness, a small fire, the sounds of predators, and a group of people trying to survive until dawn. Tonight, when your room goes dark, you probably do the same thing millions of people do. You check your phone one last time. Maybe you scroll a little longer than you should. Maybe you complain that you can't sleep. Maybe the silence feels uncomfortable, so you turn on a video, a fan, a podcast, anything to make the night feel less empty. But for 99.9% of human history, night was not empty. Night was alive. It breathed in the grass. It moved between the trees. It watched from beyond the firelight. And if you were an ancient human, the moment the sun dropped behind the horizon, your entire world changed. The land you understood during the day became a different place. Paths disappeared. Shapes became animals. Sounds became warnings. A snapping branch could mean a falling twig, or a predator walking toward you in the dark. There were no lamps, no locked doors, no police, no hospitals, no glowing streets, no walls between your sleeping body and the wild world outside. Only fire, only your group, only the thin circle of light between you and everything waiting beyond it. So what did ancient humans actually do at night? The answer is stranger, more intense, and more human than most people imagine. They did not simply lie down for 8 perfect hours and wake up refreshed. That idea is modern. Ancient nights were broken into fragments. A little sleep, a little waking, a little listening, a little talking, a little feeding the fire, a little fear. Night was not just rest. Night was protection. Night was memory. Night was storytelling. Night was danger. And in many ways, night may have been the place where human imagination truly began. Picture a small group of early humans near the edge of a forest. The day has been long. They have walked for hours. Some have gathered roots, berries, nuts, and edible plants. Others have followed animal tracks or searched near water. Children are tired. Older members move slower now. The air cools quickly. Then the light begins to fade. And everyone knows what that means. The group starts moving closer together. During the day, people can spread out. They can look for food. They can scan the landscape. They can gesture, call, and move through open ground. But at night, distance becomes dangerous. A person alone in darkness is vulnerable. A child wandering away could vanish. A sleeping adult could be attacked before anyone reacts. So one of the first things ancient humans did at night was gather. This was not just social, it was survival. The group made itself smaller, tighter, easier to defend. They stayed near a shelter, a rock overhang, a cave entrance, a stand of trees, or a camp area they had used before. They chose places carefully because sleeping in the wrong spot could be deadly. Too close to water and animals might come to drink. Too exposed and cold wind could drain body heat. Too deep in a cave and another animal might already own it. Too far from the fire and the darkness could swallow you. Every night began with a question modern humans almost never ask. Where can we survive until morning? And then came the fire. Fire changed the night more than anything else in human history. Before humans controlled fire, night was an enemy with no border. But with fire, darkness finally had an edge. There was the world inside the glow and the world outside it. Inside the glow, humans could see faces. They could warm their hands. They could cook food. They could keep insects away. They could scare off some predators. They could stay awake longer. They could look at each other and communicate after sunset. Outside the glow, everything became imagination. The fire did not make humans fearless. It may have made the night even more mysterious. Because now, instead of being completely blind, ancient humans could see just enough to know they were surrounded by something larger than themselves. A pair of eyes reflecting in the distance, a shape moving behind tall grass, a sound from a tree line no one could explain. The fire made safety possible, but it also created the oldest theater on Earth. Faces lit from below, shadows jumping on stone, smoke rising into darkness, sparks disappearing into the sky like tiny spirits. This is where the night became more than a time of day. It became a world. And once humans had fire, they had a new responsibility. Someone had to keep it alive. A fire could die quickly if ignored. Wood burned down, embers cooled, wind shifted, rain could ruin everything. In many ancient groups, tending fire at night may have been one of the most important jobs. Someone had to wake, move quietly, add fuel, push embers together, protect the flame, and make sure the group did not wake up in total darkness. Imagine that job. Everyone else is curled close together, half covered in skins, leaves, grasses, or simple bedding. The night air is cold, the fire is low. You hear breathing around you. A child shifts in sleep. Somewhere far away, an animal calls. You pick up a piece of wood. You feed the fire. The flame rises, and for a moment, the whole camp returns to life. This is one reason ancient humans likely did not sleep the way many modern people think. Our modern idea of sleep is shaped by clocks, work schedules, artificial light, and bedrooms. But in the deep human past, sleep was more flexible. People may have slept in sections. They may have woken through the night. They may have taken turns being alert. Some people slept early, woke in the middle of the night, then slept again before dawn. This broken pattern would have made sense. The night was long. Danger changed by the hour. Fire needed attention. Babies cried. Cold moved in. Predators became active. Dreams disturbed people. Someone heard something and woke others. Someone needed to urinate but feared walking too far. Someone had pain, hunger, grief, or memory keeping them awake. Ancient night was not silent sleep. It was a cycle of drifting in and out of awareness. And that awareness may still live inside us. Have you ever woken up at 3 a.m. for no clear reason? Have you ever felt uneasy in a dark room, even though you knew you were safe? Have you ever stared at a shadow and felt your brain turn it into a person? That may not be weakness. That may be inheritance. Your brain was not built first for bedrooms. It was built for darkness with teeth in it. For ancient humans, listening at night was as important as seeing during the day. In daylight, the eyes dominate. At night, the ears take over. A rustle in dry leaves, a distant growl, the low cough of a big cat, the crack of a branch, the wing beat of birds startled from trees, the sudden silence of insects. Ancient humans had to read the night like a language. Not every sound meant danger, but ignoring the wrong sound could kill you. A whole group could survive because one person woke up and listened. This may be one reason humans are so sensitive to strange sounds in darkness. Your imagination may annoy you today, but in the past, imagination was an alarm system. Better to mistake the wind for a predator than mistake a predator for the wind. Fear was useful. Fear kept people awake. Fear kept children close. Fear kept the fire burning. But night was not only fear. That is the part we often forget. Because once the group was gathered, once the fire was burning, once food was eaten, and the world outside became too dark to work in, something powerful happened. People had time. Not daylight time, not hunting time, not gathering time, not walking time, human time. Faces around fire, hands free, eyes watching flame, bodies close, voices low. This may be where some of the oldest human storytelling took shape. A hunter could act out what happened earlier that day. A child could ask why thunder sounded angry. An elder could remember a place where water lasted longer. Someone could imitate an animal. Someone could warn the group about a dangerous valley. Someone could explain which berries made people sick. Someone could tell the story of a person who wandered away and never returned. At night, information became story. And story was not entertainment alone. Story was survival technology. Before writing, stories carried maps. They carried warnings. They carried rules. They carried memory. They carried identity. A group that could remember where danger lived, where food returned, which animals attacked, which strangers betrayed, Which ancestors survived the cold had an advantage. So when ancient humans sat around fire and told stories, they were not wasting time. They were building a shared mind. A tribe is not just bodies together. A tribe is memory together. And night helped create that. Look at the firelight on cave walls. Imagine shadows stretching and shrinking. Imagine a person using their hands to form an animal shape. Imagine children watching with wide eyes. Imagine someone describing a hunt, not as a report, but as a living scene. The animal came from the left, the ground shook, the spear missed, the group ran. Then one person stood firm. The listeners feel it. They learn it. They remember it. Long before movies, long before books, long before theater, there was the human voice in the dark. And maybe that is why stories still feel different at night. A scary story told at noon is information. A scary story told after sunset becomes experience. Ancient humans also used night for bonding. In a dangerous world, trust mattered. You needed to know who would share food, who would watch your child, who would help if you were injured, who would stand beside you if something came out of the dark. Night gave people a chance to repair tensions, to sit close, to groom each other, to touch, to comfort, to laugh softly, to grieve, to watch children fall asleep, to recognize faces not as competitors, but as the people keeping you alive. This matters because humans are physically vulnerable compared to many predators. We are not the fastest. We are not the strongest. We do not have claws or thick hides or night vision like many animals. Our advantage was the group, and the group had to be emotionally maintained. Around the fire, humans could become more than survivors. They could become families, alliances, cultures. A shared night created shared belonging. But even inside that circle, life was not easy. Ancient nights were cold. Modern people underestimate how much cold shaped human behavior. Without insulated houses, heated rooms, and thick manufactured blankets, staying warm was a serious task. People slept close together because body heat mattered. Children may have been placed between adults. The elderly or injured needed protection. Simple coverings made from hides, grasses, bark, leaves, or woven plant material helped, but warmth was never guaranteed. Fire helped, but fire was uneven. Too close, and sparks could burn skin or bedding. Too far, and cold reached your bones. Smoke could irritate eyes and lungs. Rain could turn the ground miserable. Wind could steal heat from one side of your body while the other side faced flames. So ancient sleep was physical. It was not soft, private, silent, and separated. It was crowded, smoky, shifting, alert. People slept near each other because comfort and survival were the same thing. Night was also when the sky became impossible to ignore. Today, most people barely see the stars. Cities drown them. Screens replace them. Streetlights flatten the night into a dull orange ceiling. But ancient humans saw the universe with no filter. The Milky Way stretched overhead like a glowing river. Stars moved with the seasons. The moon changed shape. Certain constellations returned at certain times. The sky became a calendar, a map, and a mystery. At night, ancient humans looked up and saw patterns. And humans are pattern-making creatures. The same brain that sees a predator in a shadow also sees shapes in stars. A line of lights becomes an animal. A cluster becomes a figure. The moon becomes a face, a signal, a story. The sky helped people understand time. It may have helped them know when animals migrated, when seasons shifted, when plants returned, when cold was coming. But it also gave them something deeper: wonder. Imagine being one of the first humans to truly stare into a star-filled sky and ask, without words we would recognize today, what is all this? Where do the lights go at dawn? Why does the moon die and return? Why do the dead not wake? Why do dreams feel real? Night did not just create fear. Night created questions. And questions are the beginning of myth, ritual, religion, science, and art. Another thing ancient humans did at night was dream. That sounds simple, but dreams may have been one of the strangest experiences in early human life. Imagine dreaming of a dead relative, then waking beside the fire, shaken, with no modern explanation for what just happened. Imagine dreaming of an animal before a hunt. Imagine seeing a place in your sleep, then later finding a place that looks similar. Imagine waking from a nightmare and hearing real wolves or hyenas in the distance. For ancient people, dreams may not have felt like random brain activity. They may have felt like messages, warnings, visits, journeys. Night blurred the line between the seen and unseen. You close your eyes and another world appears. You wake and the real world is still dark. This may have made nighttime one of the earliest spaces for spiritual thinking. Not because ancient humans were foolish, but because they were human. They were trying to explain experiences that still feel powerful even now. A dream can change your mood today. For an ancient human, a dream could change a decision. Move camp, avoid a place, prepare for danger. Remember someone lost. The night gave the mind room to speak in symbols. And then there were children. Ancient children did not sleep in colorful bedrooms with nightlights. They slept close to adults, near fire, under the same dangerous sky. They heard the same animal calls. They saw the same shadows. They learned fear early, but they also learned safety through closeness. Night was a classroom. Children learned which sounds mattered. They learned not to wander. They learned the stories of the group. They watched adults repair tools, scrape hides, sort food, prepare for the next day. They absorbed language, rhythm, gesture, warning, humor, and memory. A child staring into fire while an elder speaks is not just being entertained. That child is becoming human. Because culture is not downloaded, it is repeated, it is whispered, it is acted out, it is sung, it is remembered in the body. Night made space for that repetition. Some ancient humans may have sung or chanted. They may have made rhythms by clapping, tapping sticks, beating stones, or using simple instruments. Music in darkness does something special. It synchronizes people. It calms fear. It strengthens group identity. It can make the unknown feel controlled for a moment. A group singing in the dark is sending a message to itself. We are still here. And maybe it sends a message outward too. We are many. Do not come closer. Of course, not every night was dramatic. Many nights were ordinary in the ancient sense of ordinary. Someone chewed tough food. Someone repaired a tool. Someone held a baby. Someone scratched insect bites. Someone shifted away from smoke. Someone laughed at a bad imitation of an animal. Someone fell asleep too close to someone else's elbow. The past was not always epic. It was lived. But that is what makes it powerful. Ancient humans at night were not primitive shadows. They were people with tired feet, sore backs, hungry children, old fears, private memories, and hopes for morning. They knew the world in ways we have forgotten. They knew how darkness changed temperature. They knew which animals called before rain. They knew the smell of smoke in hair. They knew the comfort of another body nearby. They knew that firelight could make a face look alive, even after grief. They knew that the stars returned, even when people did not. And every night they practiced the oldest human skill, surviving together. Then came dawn. Slowly, the black sky turned gray. The fire became ash. Birds began to call. Shapes returned to the world. The trees became trees again. The rocks became rocks. The terrifying unknown pulled back. People woke in pieces. Someone stirred the embers. Someone checked the children. Someone looked for tracks near camp. Someone stretched painful muscles. Someone remembered a dream. Someone looked toward the rising sun and understood, without needing to say it, that the group had made it through again. That was not a small thing. For ancient humans, every morning was proof. The night had come. The darkness had surrounded them. The predators had moved. The cold had pressed in. The mind had filled the shadows with fear. And still, they were alive. Today, night has been tamed. We press a switch and erase it. We lock our doors. We sleep alone in climate-controlled rooms. We turn darkness into background. But something ancient remains. That uneasy feeling when the lights go off. That comfort of hearing another person breathing nearby. That strange pull of fire, candles, campfires, fireplaces. That feeling that stories are better after sunset. That instinct to look at the stars and feel small. Maybe ancient humans did not conquer the night. Maybe they made a deal with it. They gave it fire, stories, songs, dreams, and watchful eyes. And in return, the night gave them something no daylight could. It gave them imagination. Because before cities, before kings, before writing, before science, before history itself, there was a small group of humans sitting in the dark, staring into flames, listening to the world beyond the light, and realizing they were not just trying to survive the night, they were becoming human inside it.